Good day, ladies and gentlemen. My apologies that I'm unable to attend to this engagement in person, but I trust that you are having good and productive engagements today. Today's address highlights how infrastructure, budget allocations, public debt management, and the G20's inclusive economy priorities under South Africa's presidency can come together to foster inclusive growth in South Africa. Unfortunately, our country continues to be one of the most unequal in the world. And over the past decade, our deteriorating infrastructure, especially at the municipal level, electricity disruptions, crime, corruption, weak investments, and very poor education outcomes have created a toxic mix that have reduced our economy's growth potential. In this context, infrastructure is a key driver of economic growth and job creation. As part of the government's medium-term economic strategy under the GNU, we have allocated over R1 trillion to infrastructure over the next 3 years, focusing on sectors such as energy, transport, water, and sanitation. And this investment aims to address the constraints that undermine productivity and job creation, and should hopefully lead to a positive impact on employment and poverty. A scenario analysis presented in the 2025 budget overview shows that rapid investment in infrastructure could increase South Africa's real GDP growth to 2.7% in 2025, compared to the baseline growth rate of 1.4%. Several reforms are underway to assist the government in delivering infrastructure and encourage private sector investment. The first of these is the Budget Facility for Infrastructure, which is being strengthened to develop a pipeline of projects that can attract funding. It will run multiple appraisal windows while managing fiscal exposure and risks. We have new public-private partnership regulations, which took effect on the 1st of June this year, and these have simplified processes and introduced supporting frameworks for unsolicited proposals. And we have a single structure overseen by the National Treasury that will be established later this year to coordinate state participation in project preparation and planning, public-private partnerships, and funding and credit guarantees. Our government spending is highly redistributive, with 61% of the budget allocated to what we term the social wage, which includes spending on health, education, social protection, community development, and employment programs. This allocation reflects our commitment to supporting low-income and vulnerable households while maintaining fiscal discipline. And we know from data across the world that investing in health and education is vital for promoting not only equality, but more importantly, long-term growth and maximizing human potential. Our provincial education sector baseline over the medium term is R1 trillion, while the provincial health sector budget is R845 billion over the medium term. Additional resources have been provisionally allocated to expanding early childhood developments and making sure that we are able to right-size education and health in terms of worker numbers. Social grants continue to provide essential support to vulnerable groups. There are several employment and active labor market programs that help to transition people into work, support the temporarily unemployed, and encourage entrepreneurship. The social protection and employment support programs are currently being reviewed to maximize their efficacy. To achieve our national priorities, we do need to realize greater efficiencies in public spending. To improve public spending, we are applying emerging insights from spending reviews, which have been undertaken and will be undertaking further spending reviews to ensure that we can improve outcomes for the taxpayer money that we spend. Now, much has been said of Operation Vulindlela, and it has now entered its second phase in May 2025. We're going to build on the existing reforms, but we're expanding into new areas that are critical for inclusive and sustained growth. These new reform areas include strengthening local government and improving the delivery of basic services, driving digital transformation to support service delivery, creating dynamic and integrated cities to enable economic activity. This includes special reforms to reduce transport costs and connect people to opportunities. Now, for the first time since the 2000s, government is consistently running a primary budget surplus, where revenue exceeds non-interest expenditure. And our strategy is underpinned by growing this primary surplus to stabilize the debt to GDP ratio, and we intend to do that this year, which will make an important turning point in our public finances. Interest payments remain a significant burden on the fiscus, consuming 22% of revenue in the current budget. Reversing this upward trend of interest payments will allow the government to spend less on debt service costs and more on infrastructure, economic growth, and essential services such as health and education, which are absolutely critical to growth and development in our country. As public finances stabilize and our fiscal targets are achieved, the government has been exploring the implementation of strong fiscal policy anchors. These measures will help prevent a recurrence of the cycle of high spending, high deficits, and high debt. When it comes to the G20, the theme of South Africa's G20 presidency is solidarity, equality, and sustainability. G20 countries play a pivotal role in addressing global challenges such as poverty, inequality, and job creation. South Africa's G20 presidency has created a task force to deliver a set of policies and principles for inclusive economic growth, employment creation, and the fight against inequality. So the current budget and where we are headed highlights the government's commitment to achieving our key milestones, critically stabilizing government debt as a percentage of GDP in this fiscal year, maintaining a sustained primary budget surplus, and continuing our investment in infrastructure and the social wage. We continue to lay the foundation for long-term growth through increased investment in infrastructure and the implementation of structural reforms. We're also allocating resources to support the most vulnerable in society. But prudent fiscal and debt management will create the fiscal space needed to spend more on the things that our country needs to spend money on. And our G20 leadership promotes an environment that is conducive to inclusive growth. These are important steps towards achieving inclusive and sustainable growth in South Africa. I thank you.